So I've been making progress in my project, and it's getting to that point where it's no longer, it's no longer about the theory, but you just got to go out there and practice it. This is the assimilation stage. So whatever theory I've built up, it's pretty much complete. Sometimes I do come across things that I haven't considered, so I have to add those to the system. But it's pretty much complete right now. And so right now I'm just working on the assimilation, right? And so what I've been doing is I've been going out. It's pretty simple to assimilate these in your room, just like like when you meditate, it's easy to focus in your room. But then the challenge is, can you keep that state of meditation, that state of purity around distractions, around things that distract you? And so that's the next phase of it. It's pretty easy to assimilate the principles of my project while I'm alone, while I'm in my room. But then I also have to keep those. I also have to assimilate those, be able to hold those in mind while I'm around things that distract me, that usually distract me. So what I've been doing is that I've just been going to places where there's people, because whenever there's people, those are the times when I feel like other people's ideas, other people's points of view, or what I think it's their point of view, it affects me. It kind of infects my way of thinking, and so that's kind of like what I have to practice in. So I've been going out to places where there's people. I feel the pressure, I feel kind of the oppression of what I think their thoughts are, and I try to enforce the principles. I try to remind myself of the things that I've discovered as far as the project. I try to reinforce the principles of the system that I've created. So I have not yet assimilated them perfectly to the point where I exemplify those principles in my behavior, but I do plan for it to get to that point. And so here's what I've been doing. Usually when I go out in my room, I can hold the principles well, I guess. There's little nuances of how this can be explained, of how I'm not really doing that if I just stay in my room. But the important part is that when I get out of my room, it's like a complete different mind shift. It's a different character. I take on my habitual way of thinking, and so it's no longer effective. So that's one of the things that you have to notice, right? That different places elicits a different state of mind. And so what I've been doing is I wrote down the principles of my project in these rubber bands and put them around my wrist. I used to carry around index cards with all the ideas, but it gets kind of tedious, like taking them out of your pocket, minding yourself, reading them over and over again, and also you forget that they're in your pocket, and so you just fail to assimilate this new perspective whenever there's distractions, right? So one of the things that I did is that I put them in rubber bands. That's one of the steps that I took. Then I noticed that I forget that I have these rubber bands on. So another step is that. So what I started doing then is I kind of thought, well, I need a constant reminder to constantly remind me that I need to constantly remind myself of these principles. So instead of just wearing them on my wrist, this is what I do. I hold them around my fingers and I apply constant pressure to stretch out the rubber band. And because that is constant action, it is constant reminder for me to look at these principles and work on assimilating them, right? So whenever there's distraction, whenever there's an environment in which I feel will elicit my habitual state of mind and make me forget everything about the system, all the principles about the system, I take out my rubber band. I see my rubber band, I see it, that's first cue, and I take it out and stretch it out with my fingers, and in this way I have a constant reminder to practice these principles, right? So I haven't gone to the point where I assimilate these principles so well that I actually behave according to them, but I can feel the progress, I can feel it's getting to that point. Now, some people may say that I have to take action first in order to better assimilate these. My plan is different. My method is different, and my theory, my belief about that is different. My belief is that you don't need to take action. You don't need to take. Some people say that you need to take action according to the behavior that you want to adopt. Fake it till you make it, basically. And basically, you act like the person that you wish you were in order to adopt those ideas. First you do, and then as you do, it will be revealed to you. The reasons why you do it will be revealed to you. And I don't disagree with that. But I do think that first of all, that can fail, and I also believe that there's another way that you could do it. That you could do it the other way around. It could be the case that you fake it, and 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 you never make it, because you just get used to the routine, you just get used to the ritual, and you never, here, I don't want to wear this out, you just get used to the ritual, and you never quite get it, you never quite get the reasons why you're acting, why you're behaving in that sort of way, and you're just kind of stuck in this cycle of faking it, and you never actually change your state of mind. You never actually change the principles. So you act like a rich man, but now, for the rest of your life, you can continue to be a fake rich man. And you never get to adopt that rich man mentality. That's also possible. So, my method, what I like to focus on is I like to get to the bottom of things. I like to get to the essence of things. So that you do not depend on action. You don't depend on anything. What you do is you act on the essence itself, so that you don't have to depend on anything to change that for you. Because, as you may have noticed, and as I may have mentioned or talked about, my method is to not use any extraneous tools to get things done. You get things done through the essence, not through any I don't know what the name for it would be. I can't think of the word right now. So the thing is that you don't want to develop any dependencies. You don't want to depend on any outside tools in order to bring about a certain effect, right? My method is to get to the bottom of it, to get to the essence of it, and to make that change there, so that you don't have to depend on any. You don't depend on anything extra, right? So, fake it till you make it. You're depending on the action in order to bring about a change in state of mind, right? And my thing is, act on the state of mind itself. That's the purest form of change. Bringing about the state of mind through action, you're using actions as a means to an end. That's fine. That may work, and that usually works for some. But I think the more pure way to do it is to act on the state of mind itself. So, you don't depend on any action. You don't depend on limbs. You don't depend on chemical substances. You don't even depend on music. You don't depend on images. Can you bring that state of mind itself? So, what you do is you just remember the principles. You're in a certain state of mind, and just make an effort to change it. And the reason why that doesn't work for some people is because the effort that they make to change it actually drives them away from the state of mind that they're trying to achieve. Because effort is actually something that works the state of mind that they're trying to achieve. That's one confusing part. So, how do you change your state of mind to not do any effort? Is you got to get rid of the sensation of effort that's in your mind, and you just do that through a certain change, right? You have to know how to control your mind in order to know how to use this the right way. And you can only do that through the rudimentary action that you described, You become familiar with the emotional world inside you. You become familiar with your emotional limbs and how to move them. And because people do not have the skill, to move around their emotional limbs at will, that's why they depend on action in order to change the state of mind. But you can do it by sheer will. That's my take on it.